Poly, head coach in program history for Cal Poly women's soccer, 27th season, 285, 182, and 56 overall. But the Mustangs yet to get a win this year, 0-4-3. What are you going to be looking for as we start this one off, Fitz?
I'm going to look for a speed difference, and that's one of the things in the early going, Kevin. You always get a pretty good indication of the overall difference in ability just from the way that the pitch is kind of controlled by each team. A little bit of that in Stanford's past has always come down to speed on the edges. It's a little bit the MO of really Paul Ratcliffe for decades-long stretches now.
Yeah, he has been here more than 15 years, going on season 16, the 8-time Pac-12 Coach of the Year, 2-time NCAA Championship head coach for the UCLA grad. Alex Crozier, a Cal Poly grad, and we were talking with Paul Ratcliffe before the match, and he said, he knows Alex Crozier very well, the longtime head coach of the Mustangs. Mustangs have possession to start this one off. They are in their white unis, Stanford in its cardinal reds, tops, bottoms, and socks. I like the look.
Kevin, they gave us a 65-degree start time temperature, and the anecdotal weather report is, hey, this might be one of the last games at Kagan Stadium that isn't, by the end, real chilly. Like, you could come out here in jeans and probably a long-sleeve shirt and be okay today.
I still think it's going to be pretty chilly by the end of this one. We'll see. The temperature does tend to drop off. There is a bit of wind tonight.
There is no Kagan Stadium chief meteorologist. So
no.
This was purely
no Rob Marciano on the broadcast. Here's Madison Haley. She goes out wide for McGrady, the senior. San Jose product directing traffic. Nice ball forward for Harbor, but she gets cut off there by Ava McCray.
Kind of what we were talking about, Kevin. Who's going to get to those through balls first, and in what fashion? Are they going to have control quickly on the first touch, or is it going to be an unsettled situation?
Hernandez Marquez trying to send a through ball in, but that's cut off well by Girda. Parents immigrated from Ethiopia to the United States and got introduced to soccer through the Ethiopian soccer community here in the Bay Area. Oh, nice diagonal ball. That's Harbor. McCray there again for Cal Poly, but can't really clear it too far. DiBiase. There's Haley. Nice ball. Harbor takes a crack on Cage. But Brown there for the stop. 208 goals against average and a save percentage of .681 for the junior out of Foothill High School in Pleasanton. Big West All-Academic last year, and 2 years ago, the Mustangs team Rookie of the Year. Third minute of action. Here's Grubel. She's really been impressive her freshman year. Bit of a pleasant surprise. Trying to tow one through there. That's Malatsky, nothing doing. That boot does eventually find Megan Hansen. I'll play it all the way back to Brown. Hernandez Marquez can't get past Cook. As mentioned, 5 Herman Trophy watch list honorees on this team. Tierna Davidson, Katarina Macario, who's not in the starting lineup, Jay Boissiere, Tegan McGrady, and Alana Cook. I mean, fits to have 5 on the watch list for the...
Had 5 different players on that list. I'm sure North Carolina's in the conversation there, but just almost nobody in the country at any point in the last 10 years that I can remember has had that kind of depth outside of maybe Stanford.
Paul Ratcliffe thinks this could be one of the deepest teams he has ever had, if not the deepest. A scary thought for the rest of the country, considering a team that has won 28 straight and is coming off a national championship, defeating UCLA 3-2 in the finals.
But I think any of them are almost just as likely to win. I mean, they all have different skill sets, but all of those names pop out as players that can win.
If you were to pick one, if I were to pick one, Macario, since she led the nation in points and assists last year, that would
I think that's
kind of be the favorite.
The favorite, but again, I mean, it's a long season.
Yeah. Already this year, Macario with 9 points. She had 50 last year. 3 goals, 3 assists this season. 17 goals, 16 assists last year.
And I think that people all around the country would bet on her.
So here's Malatsky. Nice first touch. Trying to play into space for Grubel, but taken away by Hansen of the Mustangs. Haley, who's just known for punishing defenders. Couldn't quite get the necessary magic to work there. Kenzie George trying to get past Girma. She does. And the boot doesn't quite get there. An easy save for Rude. Not enough mustard on that one.
Kevin, Grubel did something on the other side that was not super freshman-like. She cut in front of a ball and then kind of was a little bit behind the play and then immediately moves back to defense in a way that's going to funnel the ball completely to the other side of the field, which is something you would do, honestly, if you'd watched a bunch of film, which I just don't anticipate to necessarily be the case in this particular match, but also just if you understand tendencies, and even in the early going, it seemed like that was a correct tendency to exploit. As far as the back line for Cal Poly, they have been pushing everything to that far side of the field. Just a slight tendency, but still a smart move.
DiBiase, a nice ball. Harbor for Haley. 1-0 Stanford. Madison Haley, her second goal of the season, and the Cardinal with an early 1-0 lead on the Mustangs. Fitch just great teamwork. We talked a little bit with Paul Ratcliffe about the chemistry that this team is building, and he was saying that they're really starting to round into form right now, and we saw a little example of that right there.
Served on a platter to Haley off the deflection. And she went top shelf, but not too high up towards the crossbar. I think she understood the situation. Just put a little bit of heat on that ball, but don't hit a fastball. The whole idea is just to directionally put it dead center.
The assists credited to Jordan DiBiase, who has her team leading 5th of the season. Also getting an assist, JoJo Harbor, her first assist of her collegiate career, 3rd point of 2018, also has a goal. So we are in the 7th minute, and the Cardinal already has a lead.
Stanford has scored some goals that especially on the network, have either made highlights or they were rebroadcast on various social media, and really they've put some balls in the back of the net that you just think, well, how are they possibly doing that? That last goal, though, was the way you script it in practice.
Yeah, and I will say some of the setups to these goals this year for Stanford have been next level. Case in point, the game winner against North Carolina. The work that Katarina Macario did against a plethora of Tar Heel defenders to set up Madison Haley in the box was nothing short of beautiful.
Yeah, I think I watched that one back just on the clip. It was clipped on Stanford's Twitter feed. Maybe just had that on loop on one of my screens.
Yeah, I had to watch it a few times.
If it's a good enough highlight, nobody will, nobody walking by will even, question what you're doing at work. That's what I learned.
Perhaps something brewing here for the Mustangs, but Sam Hyatt says, well, let's blow this play up. Sam Hyatt wearing the number 17, worn last year by Andy Sullivan, the Herman Trophy winner. The 4th Cardinal women's soccer player to win the award, following the footsteps of Kelly O'Hara, Kristen Preston, Teresa Noyola. Speaking of those players, I think when you think about that win against North Carolina, some of those, we're not going to call them old-timers because they're in their late 20s now, but probably thinking, that's for 2009.
Yeah.
Stanford lost the NCAA championship game to North Carolina. A bit of a controversial finish, if you ask anyone around the peninsula. 2 goals taken away by offside calls. Of course, Kelly O'Hara getting the red card. Now, that was a deserved red card.
Yeah, that was justified. But, I mean, man, did she try to win that game on her own or what at times?
Yeah, and I want to say Press had both of the goals that were called back. Maybe O'Hara had one of them. Press definitely had the second one. And that one I don't think was offside.
A trip down memory lane. Kevin, you're good at that. All the way back to 2009. I have vivid memories of that. Some certain sporting events, you remember where you watched the sporting event. It's kind of emblazoned in your mind.
I watched it at my parents' house when I was still living at home. Happy to say I'm not anymore. There's Mackenzie George.
I think I was in a college dorm room at the time. In fact, I'm quite sure I was.
George, a nice run, but Girma cuts her off.
6 people watching on a laptop is not the play.
So the Cardinals lost in 2009 National Championship. Then they lost in 2010 National Finals to Notre Dame. And then they finally broke through in 2011, blanking Duke with an early second-half goal from Teresa Noyola. Then they won last year against UCLA, who couldn't quite 8-clap their way to a natty. And here's Harbor. Haley. 11th minute. Cook keeps it on the ground for Coleman.
Kevin, from this area, speaking of that UCLA team, UCLA alum Abby Dahlkemper, pretty well known on the scene. She's from just down the road, and I mean just down the road. And then Teresa Noyola, probably the next biggest name.
Ooh, Coleman almost had an open cage. Couldn't quite get her boot on that one. Not sure if Brown got a fingertip on it, but it was cleared away eventually by the Mustangs. Yeah, I mean, there's so much talent to come out of the Bay Area as far as the women's soccer scene is concerned.
Even just from, I'm talking about literally Menlo Park, Palo Alto.
And Teresa Noyola.
San Jose, I think, is a hotbed for soccer.
Have a couple of San Josealians in this game. And in the broadcast booth.
Is that the word for someone who
That's
hails
what I
from
call
San
us.
Jose? Emphasis on us, so you have a little bit of leeway there.
Yeah. Oh, nice ball for Coleman. Just a little too much weight on the ball. Goal kick for Sophia Brown and the Mustangs. Last year went 7-9-3 and 2-4-2 in the Big West. They're picked to finish 8th in the 9-team Big West this year. UC Irvine, the Anteaters, picked to win the women's soccer crown in 2018 in the Big West. Cal Poly, traditionally a very solid side. They've had 19 winning seasons in their first 26. Now here's Grubel. 3-on-3. Ooh, that one hit off the shin of Barry. Stanford has dominated possession as expected against a winless Cal Poly side. But if you ask Paul Ratcliffe, he says these Mustangs are much better than their record indicates. Nice linking play here. McGrady looking back post. DiBiase couldn't quite run onto it. Jordan has it now. Grubel swinging one in just a little too far for JoJo Harbor and a goal kick.
A couple of pretty good balls in that sequence. One from the far side and now from near. Stanford is, it appears to be pretty dialed in.
$13 and change gone by, almost a third of the way through the first half. Haley, strong on ball, eventually cleared away by McCray. Here's Haley again, rockets one just high of the mark. Oh, she's got quite the boot. Of course, Madison, the daughter of Charles Haley, a 5-time Super Bowl champ with the Cowboys and the 49ers. Hall of Famer. comes from an athletic family. Her brother CJ was a defensive back at UTEP.
Kind of, Kevin, sorry to interrupt. It felt like it was kind of a 1-on-5 situation, both times similar to this for Haley, but somehow she creates space where there isn't space, which is if you had to maybe pick a sentence to describe her game from the last season and the beginning of this one, that would be what I would choose.
Swing and a miss there for Ashley Kirchick, the senior from San Jose. Has 1 assist this year, but yeah, she can make something out of nothing. Had a really nice play in the first half against North Carolina. Didn't quite lead to a goal. Had a really nice play in the first half against North Carolina. Didn't quite lead to a goal.
And, you know, this is a question for Paul, but how she's going to evolve as a player as this team evolves. We're looking at a kind of a player personnel setup right now that might not be the personnel setup at the end of the season, but at the same time, she plays a lot of different roles, and the role that Paul would like her to play, depending on who's on the field, is very flexible, which is something that I think everyone watching can appreciate, and it's certainly, if you run into either Paul Radcliffe or Madison Haley at Jimmy V's, ask him about that.
Yeah. DiBiase. Coleman. Not quite. Hernandez Marquez playing back for Hanson. Hernandez Marquez unable to get there. Girma clears. 16th minute. First of 2 matches here this weekend at Laird Q for Stanford women's soccer. Coming up next, the big Bay Area derby with Santa Clara. By far the 2 most successful women's soccer programs in this area. Cal has a good side, but right now not comparing to Santa Clara and what they've been able to do over the years with head coach Jerry Smith. So that'll be a fun one. Santa Clara beat North Carolina last weekend at home, 1-0. Questionable offside call taking away a North Carolina goal in the last 25 seconds. DiBiase. Now Malatsky. Carly puts it on Cage, but right to Brown. Booted to midfield for Mackenzie George, but again, Stanford quickly back on possession as it's Coleman now. Here's Hyatt, the BC transfer, 2nd year on the farm. Goes out wide. Here's McGrady surveying the scene. It's it back from DiBiase. Now Harbor. Looks like it's going to be a corner kick. DiBiase to do the honors. Nice crowd on hand here. Most of the western side of Laird Q. Kagan Stadium filled. And go the short corner route. McGrady to the 6-yard marker. And Hyatt got the head on it wide. So the goal kick.
Kevin, it's a pretty healthy crowd.
Yep.
I'm reminded, as typically when the crowd is pretty good, that dirt lot towards the north end zone. I mean, usually that'll fill up. And when I was a kid, I know this is a long time ago, but they used to have bleachers specifically beyond each end line, right behind the nets, and that was, I believe, when you were in school here. I think that was still a thing.
I remember the 2009 season. I remember when the men's team would play the home games here. Adoni Levine's father would tailgate behind the south goal. That was before they had the screen up on the fence, so you used to be able to see through the fence. He would kind of heckle the opposing goalkeeper and the opposing players.
That was,
you could hear him from here too.
I believe that was the idea of the bleachers back there. I don't think anyone in their right mind was sitting back there and behaving themselves. Just was not what those seats were for. And they were kind of like I think the word would be like risers that you have at like a middle school musical.
Yeah. Yeah, forget high school musical, middle school musical.
Or whatever. Whatever you people do, Kevin.
Huh. I can tell you what Naomi Girma does. She sends a nice ball out wide to McGrady. Here's Harbor. Trying to get that to Haley. And cut off by McCray, and we'll have a throw-in. Harbor tripped up. Going to be a set piece just outside of the 18. A chance to send a ball into the cement mixer, as our fellow broadcaster Tim Swartz would say. Stanford's got 6 in the box right now. It'll be McGrady. Ooh, Girma almost got around on that before it does get cleared, but not too far back. McGrady there. Malatsky, DiBiase. Good controlled possession here as Cal Poly will finally boot that one free and away from cage.
Pretty good look for Girma, as you talked about coming out of the cement mixer. I think ball just kind of hung up on her cleat a little bit on the high hop.
Cal Poly looking to link in the midfield and quickly thwarted by the Cardinal. About midway through the first half as we are approaching the 23rd minute. Cardinal out shooting Cal Poly 9-1 at the moment. And the goal early on, Madison Haley. Oh, looking for Haley. Foul on Madison. Here's Brown. Cook with the clearance. Chance here for Hernandez Marquez. Couldn't quite get there. Barry booting it. Chance here for Hewen. I'm going to throw in here in the final third, the Mustangs.
Well, at minimum, Kevin, this qualifies as a quality look for the Mustangs.
I think a chance to get something in the box, try to level here with the Cardinal. Malatsky says not so fast. Chance here for a counter for the Cardinal. DiBiase at midfield. Out wide to Teagan. Ball kind of died before it could get to her. kind of stalled things a little bit. McCray there. Ava McCray out to Mackenzie George. Georgina Stiegler bumped from behind. Harbor. Go back to midfield. It's Cook. Dusk here on the farm. The Cardinal looking for win number 29 in a row.
In that stretch, we talked with Nick before the match, and really Stanford has not spent all that much time trailing.
They have during this, well, they haven't trailed at all during this win streak as this one goes into the box and Brown catches it, but they trailed 8 minutes and 59 seconds all of last season. In 25 matches, they trailed not even 9 minutes. And all of them, all those minutes trailing were spent against Florida. That's the last time the Cardinal lost. August 25th, 2017. So it has been 12.6 months, we'll call it, since they've lost.
I should check that math, but I think it's right.
Something like that. I don't know, we got some subs coming in. So Katarina Macario, Sophia Smith, and Jay Boissiere replacing Tegan McGrady, Jordan DiBiase, and Allie Grubel. One of them staying in, yeah, Grubel, because Madison Haley's coming off. So we'll see Macario. Bit of a different look today. No disrespect to Cal Poly, but when you do have another match this weekend, and that other match is Santa Clara, you want to make sure you're at full go for that one. Macario almost put together a pretty nice move on Chelsea Berry, who stood her ground well. So we'll roll all the way back to Lauren Rude. Allison Johanzus, the normal starting goalkeeper for the Cardinal, not in the action yet. Lauren Rude getting her second start of 2018. She started about 40% of the games last year, played in 10, started 9. Only gave up 2 goals, a save percentage of .867, so certainly no slouch, not a huge drop-off when she comes in for Johanzus. Johanzus, though, a heck of a goalkeeper. College Cup All-Tourney last year, Pac-12 All-Academic Honorable Mention. Sophia Smith drawing the whistle. She was going to battle against Ashley Kirchick. Boissiere. We'll go the long way around the Cardinal. Always patient in possession. Oh, good one-touch passing here. Oh. This ball for Hyatt. Malatsky. Looking for Macario. Gets away from her.
A pretty good pass from Malatsky.
Yeah.
Through the legs, timed it perfectly. Veteran move.
Malatsky, 1 assist this year. Appeared in 16 matches last year and 19 the year before as a freshman. In her 3rd year now on the farm, the junior from Newport Beach. Went to Tarbut Vitora High. Same high school as Cami Levin. Played here about 8-9 years ago.
Throw back to that 2009 team. We're just
she sent some great balls in from about 30, 40 yards out.
Make as many references to those years as possible.
Hyatt. Here's Smith. She's had some incredible goals for the Cardinal this year, including one against North Carolina. Also scored against Notre Dame. 3 goals overall in the season. Tied for 1st on the squad.
Sometimes you hear a name either through the funnel on a national team broadcast or what have you, where it's someone who played against the Cardinal back in that time.
Yeah, you think about the Lauren Holidays, formerly known as Lauren Cheney.
Alex Morgan probably.
Yep. From Cal.
Although I think all accounts of the matches that Alex played in, people pretty much unanimously say Stanford gave her a real hard time. Comparatively speaking, at least.
We'll have a whistle going against the Cardinal here. And Julie Ertz, Zach Ertz's wife on the national team. Past the half-hour mark. But, yeah, you mentioned just so many good players just around that time.
And even players that didn't necessarily play on the U.S. national team, but were still part of the global scene, like Allie Riley. You hear that name ever so occasionally in broadcasts that are U.S.-centric.
New Zealand national teamer. Alina Garcia Mendez with the Mexican national team.
I wonder how much of that has to do with players just they seem to identify a style and build that style very well under Paul Radcliffe, and usually it carries over pretty well. And so what happens is you find players on the national scene that seem like they just have a certain flavor or way of playing the game that they developed. I want to say at the collegiate level, I'd like to give Paul Radcliffe at least some due credit for that.
Sam Tran and Beatty Godin for the Cardinal. A couple of subs for Cal Paulstein, a freshman from Davis, California, has 1 goal this year. Well, the Mustangs 0-4-3. They've played in 5 games decided by a goal or a draw, however. Really kind of one ugly result on the ledger, and that was a 6-1 loss at then number 8 USC. USC, 2016 national champions. Winning at Avaya Stadium, just 20 minutes south of here. 25 minutes south of here in San Jose. Defeating West Virginia 3-1. Guillermo. Nice pace on that ball. There's Macario. Katarina trying to work her magic for Beatty Goad. Laying it back, nobody home. Ball was just kind of rolling around the box for a little bit, but Cal Poly doing well to clear there. Last time out for the Mustangs, a 1-1 draw with Seattle up in the 206, getting the goal in the 87th minute from Jessica Johnson. Leads the team with 2 goals this year. Tran is a defender, slips. That's Talmy for Cal Poly. She appears to be all right. Hyatt. A good idea. Smith looking for Macario there, but the execution not up to par on that play. About what you expected, Fitz, after 34 minutes and change?
Yeah, if I had to pinpoint something that I really like that Stanford's doing, in the attacking end, it seems like players are creating space where they're running into 2 or 3 defenders that are putting on a frenetic pace to contain them, and the legs are going to get tired if you do that as a defensive unit. So Stanford, I would imagine, could really create some separation just in terms of the style that they're playing. They're really going to be wearing out this Mustangs team.
Yeah, Stanford normally a team that gets a large majority of its goals in the second half. Malatsky curved the wrong way.
And it's not even necessarily that, and I mean, watching this on the feed, I'm sure this is readily apparent in wide and close shots, but it's not even about making the Mustangs put in miles, Kevin. It's just about making people sprint occasionally. That's going to tire you out more than putting in kind of long-distance miles.
Belle Breed checking in for her first action of 2018. A sophomore from Alpharetta, Georgia, in the Atlanta area. But yeah, good point, Fitz, as far as trying to tire out the other team with its work rate, which is something we have seen well throughout the years in the Paul Ratcliffe era. Harbor, the last touch before it goes out. Cardinal out shooting Cal Poly 10-1 now.
You've never seen someone come to Stanford as a freshman who was touted for their speed and then as a senior not be lightning quick. You've never seen anyone fall off in that area. This Stanford side has made teams run for over a decade, and that's just always been the case.
Very true. Alana Cook. Ooh, just over the head of Macario. And Katerina. Well, she was maybe 4 inches taller. That could be in the back of the net. An opportunity here on the counter for Cal Poly. It's Rubenstein. Has support with George. George, top of the box. Breed clears. Well, and right to Goad. This could key a counter for the Cardinal. Well done. Here comes Beatty. Beatty, the Australian from Melbourne in her 3rd season. Tran gets that one to pop up. Oh, nice ball there. If Rubenstein can get there, which she does. Nice play from Mackenzie George. Now here's Rubenstein working on Harbor. Offside flag is up. Cardinals setting the offside trap there well.
Yeah, kind of a similar veteran move. You set that offside trap, you want to get the whistle as often as possible, but obviously if you somehow don't get the whistle, you want to be not completely detached from the play, and that was kind of the case there.
Yeah. Well done from Alana Cook.
When teams kind of egregiously set the offside trap, first of all, it's harder to get the whistle because you make an offensive player hyper aware of the trap. But then also sometimes you just don't get the whistle, like one out of 8 times or something like that. There's just going to be, for whatever reason, no whistle, and then you're just dead in the water. Again,
Ewan.
these are numbers that will confer with Paul Radcliffe over time.
The Fitzgerald
The mental
fractions
the mental
of
math.
offside traps not working.
12.5%.
Yeah. Oh, there you
sound
go.
accurate.
Maybe a bit of an angle shot there from Fitz. With respect to that 12.5%.
That's a Paul question. As many questions are that I have in my day-to-day.
WWRD. What would Ratcliffe do?
Needs to be a
think
phone
that
app.
Lead us well in life.
If anyone on the staff is good at programming iOS.
Malatsky. I'm not on the same page there with Smith. Stanford throwing in the final third. Looking for one more before halftime. Already got one from Madison Haley in the first 6 minutes of the match. Calm, cool, collected first 45 for the Cardinal to this point. Well done by Ewan. Force a deep throw in. Will be a goal kick. Or no, actually a foul on Stanford.
Haven't heard the whistle all that much.
Yeah.
Maybe only 3 or 4 times thus far.
That's the way we like it.
Appropriately so, too.
Cleanly played match to this point. Sam Tran. Trying to play one back. Got deflected, a shot from 25 plus from Boissiere, an easy save for Brown. It's the 11th shot of the match for Stanford. The #1 team in the country. Looking for a program record, 29th consecutive win, and set a new program record for an unbeaten streak, which was originally set in the 2011 and 2012 seasons. As we approach Pac-12 play, the Cardinal with just one more non-conference match after this one in Santa Clara on Sunday. The Cardinal looking for their second four-peat in the Pac-12. They did it 2009 through 2012. They've won 3 conference titles in a row coming into this year. Macario. Katarina in the box. Goes to ground, but no whistle, play on. Almost got free there. And if she did, that would have been 2-0. Would have had a 1v1 with the keeper.
Yeah, I don't think she tripped over the ball.
No. Lost her footing. She might have been able to stay up there, but at that point, if you're kind of losing your footing, might as well go to ground, see if you can get a whistle.
Well, put it this way. If that wasn't in the box every single time, that's a whistle. Fair?
Yeah.
Anyhow, carry on.
Macario triple teamed there. Breed gets the whistle. Here's a spot. Final 100 seconds of the first half. A really good opportunity here for the Cardinal to pad its edge. Beatty Goad, Katarina, Macario behind the ball. Looks like Katarina's going to take the set piece. You've got Guillermo, Boissiere, Cook, Smith, Breed, Tran all at the edge of the 18. Options here for Katarina. The sophomore puts one on target. The rebound stopped as well. Ooh, Alana Cook came in after the initial great save by Brown and couldn't quite put it through. That's at least 2 saves. Actually, yeah, 3 for Sophia Brown there. Wow. Macario looking upper left 90. And now a chance for George. Trying to turn. She'll earn a corner. She's got to hurry, 28 seconds. There is no stoppage time in college soccer, so you got to go. Once that clock hits 45 minutes, boom, half's over. They got 15 seconds. Set piece coming. Talmy will take it. Under 10 seconds. In swinger. Off the side netting. And that'll be a goal kick that will not get taken because we have reached halftime. Got a little interesting there for Cal Poly at the end, Fitz.
Yeah, they stole some momentum. One of, I think, a trio of pretty good looks for Cal Poly throughout the duration of that first half, but it was essentially all Stanford other than that. Still a glimmer, but again, Kevin, Stanford looked good.
We'll take the break, come back with the start of the second half after this. You're watching Stanford Women's Soccer as the Cardinal has a 1-0 lead at the break against Cal Poly here on Go Stanford.